Hi, everyone, and just want to welcome you to the Spirit Moment. My name is Nancy Abbott, and I'm the chaplain for the YMCA of Greater San Antonio. And today I get to introduce you to one of our Y church pastors. Welcome, Pastor Chad. Pastor Chad is from Ignite Church, and they meet over at the Thousand Oaks Family YMCA. And so for the month of October, we're going to focus on in the spirit moment on our Christian principles. And we actually try to communicate those through three words: love, serve, and care. And today we're focusing on serve and service. And so Pastor Chad and his church are actually no stranger to service. They literally embrace this concept in such a beautiful way. And so we're going to get to know Pastor Chad a little bit today and talk to him about this topic. So Pastor Chad, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your church? We would love to learn a little bit more about you.
I think that our church and church leaders are way more interesting than I am. But I grew up in a very I guess, faith-based home. My dad was Jewish. My mom was Presbyterian. They raised us Unitarian. I think both of them maybe don't follow or believe necessarily in Jesus, and I did not either. So I went to college and hard charging into the business world and studied in Europe and did different things and just kept feeling empty. You know, I was blessed to make a lot of money at a young age, but no matter what I bought or what I did, still felt like something was missing. Then I was very into leadership and self-development and business, and somebody finally connected it to the Word of God and said, you know, a lot of this stuff that you're studying is found here, you know, in the Bible. And like that old dusty book, you know, like really
like a light bulb went on.
Yeah, and John Maxwell's, I didn't really realize that he was a pastor before, and that, you know, his teachings were rooted in faith of the Bible, and then some of the newer churches that were a little bit more contemporary than the ones I had attended growing up, and they were more fun and more Christian life principles. So I felt like I was dealing with the truth, like the foundation, the true north, if you will, like finding my compass, you know, and that was what I was missing, and Jesus in my life. And now I realize that is, I think, put there in every person, that thing that it can only be filled by God, and that we try to fill it with other things and can't, is just unquenchable and from him. And so one thing led to another. The why, I love it. My family, we've been members way before we had a church. And so to grow up our family, we had no kids at first, the kids in the children's ministry and everything. And we're just trying to do our best to serve or connect with the why in the community and care here. And one thing led to another to start a little baby church in the Y. And it's just really, really been a blessing ever since.
Wow, Pastor Chad. And you've been at Thousand Oaks YMCA how long now as a church?
As a church, we just celebrate our 3-year anniversary.
I thought, yes.
It's and we're very, very grateful. A little rough to start, you know, the end of the 3rd year in COVID, you know, being at home more than we were at church.
Yes.
It's been a great 3 years. You know, a lot of your help, and I thank you and our leaders at the Y, Thousand Oaks, which have been amazing, you know, championing the connection, you know, the partnership with the church and the Y together, that have made it just so fun. You know?
Well, I just want to say Pastor Chad is just an amazing pastor, and we just have so much fun working together and seeing things happen in our YMCA. So thank you. So cool to hear a little of your story. And so for our audience to understand a little bit about our history, we've had churches meet in the Y years ago that were simply more transactional relationship where they needed space and we provided the space. But in the last 5 years or so, we've moved more to a partnership with our churches. When a church comes in, we look forward to getting to know that church, their beliefs, their values, their structure, what they want to see happen in the YMCA. And so we've become just a place where we can work together, serving together. And we want to be a blessing to the church, and as well as well as the church, be a blessing to the Y. And it's just been amazing how that partnership has happened in many of our YMCA's all across the city, and especially at Thousand Oaks with you all. So, Pastor Chad, you caught that vision early on, just from the very beginning. Why did you see the Y as a great partnership?
I mean, I would have wanted to feel like I'd bloom try to bloom wherever I was planted, and God planted us there. And I think that's a key to leadership, is to be able to be led, to submit to the people above. I don't own the building, it's the YMCA's building. There's leaders like you over the city. There's executive directors like we have, that are full-time, full blast in there. So I look at it like the church is there to serve and to share the love of Christ in that community, but it's not mine. So you start there understanding, that, I work for them, even though they don't pay me, like I work for them to serve the community the best way possible, is where I would try to do it anywhere. Now in the Y specifically, wow, I mean, it can't really get any better to be, in my opinion, because they were founded on Christian principles.
Absolutely.
Which are not meant to, I know people talk about mission drift and this and that, but the reality is, the vision was to love the hurting and the lost and everything, not to be overly legalistic and preaching to make people feel judged and what do I do? And it was meant to be inclusive for all when I look at it.
From the very beginning.
So I think sometimes it's Christians that make us feel disconnected to the community, because we come in too judgmental, not enough grace, not enough love, and we're not inclusive the way Jesus would have been, hanging out with everybody, sharing the love of Christ. And so if you look at it that way, we come into the Y, there's all of these people that are coming into the building, and they need love, they need care, they need community. A lot of the people that work at the Y are so busy doing their jobs that it's hard for them to go above and beyond, to bring people in and to love them and do all this stuff. So the church gets a chance to be able to do that in tandem with the Y and to provide all of that stuff. So whether it's back in the day, potlucks and all this stuff that we could do, what a great fit for the church to do that, to serve the Y, and, members that are there. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. We talk about mind, body, and spirit, and why wouldn't the church provide the spirit part, while the rest of the workers are all able to provide, everything else, and we just work together.
I love that. So, Pastor Chad, just everything you've been saying is so good, just from our history in the YMCA and the value of prayer, and that it started in prayer, and then just really caring for all people, that we can do that as a church. You can do that as a church, and it flows so much with our Christian mission statement that says to put Christian principles into practice that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. And so I just want to ask you that question. What are the benefits of serving? How have you seen that with your members? How have you seen that personally? And even the YMCA, how have they benefited?
I mean, thank you. So what a great question. So I think for all of us, we feel, especially in this day and age with COVID, we feel like a lack of, normalcy and, even our own purpose, what is going on? I'm walking around and afraid to touch anybody and do all this stuff. So we lack this feeling of what am I here for? How's this going in general? And without serving, we feel like, at least I felt like I was on the bench, just kind of sitting there depressed, frustrated, that I didn't have much to offer, to give to anybody. And I think that's what happens when somebody's not serving is that they don't know where they fit into this world. And then watching the news and all the politics and all this stuff starts to just come down on you, and it will tear you up from the inside out. And so when we get an opportunity to serve, even in a small way, that's why with Ignite, we do really, really simple things. But when you do those simple things and you get out of your box a little bit and get out of your comfort zone and start to do something that's not too intimidating, you feel like, oh man, I'm not worthless. I'm not on the bench. You know what I mean? I'm in the
I
game.
can do this.
I can do this, and I'm in the game. And if you think about the captain of a sports team, they're usually the first there and the last to leave, and they work hard and everything because they feel inspired to lead, right? And so the water boy or gal who's not doing anything is the one that's really raggedy and not wanting to show up, hardly, because they don't feel that purpose. And so when people find that they're there not to just receive and give me, but let me go give back, purpose goes on, and then they're inspired in their own walk, which is the exciting thing I think that they need, we need to, that's why in scripture talks about it's better to give than to receive. And I think because your spirit feels like, oh man, I'm being used. This is awesome. So, that's where, for me personally, I probably felt like when I was just focused on business, that I wasn't doing enough and helping enough. And then now to be able to, with spirit mind, it inspires me, to get excited. And
of course it does.
Great leaders and people that are not sitting in a chair. We have plastic chairs at the Y that aren't that comfortable. So it's probably for a good reason. Because these lazy boys, sit back and everything, right? Everybody just sit there for hours. We don't want them sitting there for hours. We want them to come in, be inspired, love one another, and then let's go do something out there.
Oh, I love that. Do you want to share with the folks listening just some of the things that y'all have been doing over these last few years? Just real quick, some of the cool things, because it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think every church should do these things, and I think that would help them quite a bit to grow, because God's used it for us for sure. And they take time, and every community is probably different, and every person's different. But so I used to run all the time on Saturdays, and so when we started the church, like, well, why don't we walk? That way, more people can participate. So we started prayer walking around the Thousand Oaks. And I don't look at it as a burden, even though it's every Saturday.
Wow.
And then we also meet on Sunday. You have to think if I was already doing this anyway, why all of a sudden now is it a burden, right? Like I should be waking up and going out there and enjoying the fresh air. And so we started off walking, and we must have done that for months, if not a year.
Wow.
And then just looking at all the trash on the side of the sidewalk and on the street for months. Wow. So nothing happened quickly. So then just getting tired of looking at it all the time and saying, why don't we bring the trash back? So that we could pick up the trash while we do this. We're already walking, and all of a sudden we're picking up trash, and then people are honking or smiling or pulling over saying thank you for doing that and seeing us out there. And could the YMCA use that exposure? Yes. Could our church use that exposure? Yeah. Could God use that exposure to inspire people to do things in their own community? One time this guy pulled over and I said, hey, why don't you come do it with us? He goes, no, you motivated me to do it in my own area. And I was like,
awesome.
That's even better. You know what I mean? Like, do that. And then this is pre-COVID, then we started picking up tacos at Camilla's and coming into the Y so that everybody could see us praying and devotional and community with tacos. And
cool.
And that was, a whole nother, evolution to the idea. So now we're just prayer walking outside, keeping distant and keeping our, masks and stuff. Another thing that we love to do is drive-through prayer, where we have these signs, like lawn signs, that say drive-through prayer. And after service, actually, we do this monthly. So anybody wants to come and hang out, we do a shorter service.
Okay.
Because we're very intentional. We're like,
Yes.
look, we're not going to
Yes.
keep people here all day long. If we are going to do something extra, let's make service shorter.
Yes.
And then we'll all be dressed up in just casual because we're going outside afterwards.
Yes.
And then we'll go with those signs, and
That's
we'll
so cool.
put on some music, and we'll have flags out there, and we're like, and doing it, and people will drive through, and some of them will come in and need prayer, and people will be broken in tears
Wow.
and needing prayer.
Wow.
Other
Well, I
people
love
drive
that.
by, drive by and honk and smile, or give other hand signals if they're not, in for what we're doing. That's okay.
Wow, I love that, and I've been a part of one of those, and they're a
Yeah,
lot of fun. A
it is.
lot
It
of
is
fun. I
beautiful.
mean, people do honk and they do stop, and it's amazing. And also, you all do a lot with the YMCA, like usually, I mean, during non-COVID times, there's like trunk or treat, and you partner with us and do some of the events together with your church, right?
Yeah, for me personally, I want to do even more with them.
Mhm.
And again, I look at it like, the end goal of all the people involved that are doing the service, like the end goal of the hourly worker,
Yeah.
potentially, and I've been there,
Yes.
so I understand it might be to go home. I mean, like,
Right.
hey, how long do I have to be here, at
Right.
this thing? But the end goal of a church that's there, you're doing exactly what they want to be doing, with
Right.
those events, like, and
Yes.
so when we get to do them together, if the church looks at it like, we are your volunteers, YMCA, you tell us what to do, we're here to do it, and we do it together. Even
Yes.
marketing and promotions of it, where yes, the Y uses Facebook and things like that, but how many people will share it and be excited about every event the
And
Y
more
does?
people will know. Yeah.
The church wants to do that, right? Like, hey,
Yes.
let's get everybody in here. And so
So
for
cool.
promotions, it helps. For service, it helps. For us, it helps because it's a bigger,
Yes.
than our little church.
Yes.
It's more people, and so many fun events that the Y does. And even now, like what we did with the food bank, you and I, and going to the
Yes.
website, and there's things that God wants now in the midst of COVID, that the
Mhm.
church can be there as a partner for it. It will
Absolutely.
look different because of COVID,
It
but
will.
still very important.
But it's service, and there's always ways that we can serve. And I just love how your church has just come alongside the Y and its members and its staff. I mean, you're so caring towards those that are in the Y, and it's just such a beautiful partnership, Pastor Chad. So we love that. Well, Pastor Chad, I know you have a family too. Your wife, Erica, and you have two kids, Madeline and Mackenzie, young girls, right? And I'd love to
Yeah,
hear, as a dad and as a husband, how do you serve your own family?
yeah. Well, thank you. And we homeschooled, so that was a
Oh,
blessing,
yeah.
for all the way up to fifth grade, for our oldest. And so my wife, who co-pastors with me of Ignite,
Yes.
our first ministry is to them. I mean, to love them,
Yes.
to be a good husband, be a good daddy to them,
Hmm.
and they have grown to love all this stuff too, and makes it
Oh.
great. This is their family. Their favorite day is often Sundays, when
Oh.
it's church time, and the wife, Maddie's playing soccer for the first time ever, and that
Super
over at
cool.
Stone Oak,
Yeah.
and so we're over there quite a bit, and that's the greatest blessing, is to be, to have a beautiful, amazing wife that I get to serve with, and then to have these two healthy, fantastic little girls, that are,
Oh,
uh,
what a blessing.
yeah, I
What a blessing. And
need to
they're
keep.
growing fast.
I don't want them to grow that fast.
I bet you don't. I bet you don't. Well, Pastor Chet, it's been a joy to have you today on the Spirit Moment. And I just want to remind everybody that Ignite Church meets at Thousand Oaks Family YMCA 11 o'clock every Sunday. And they are meeting now. So we're happy you're back in the Y, and you're more than welcome to join them over there. And also, if something struck you today, whether it's about serving or just about your relationship with God, myself or Pastor Chad would be happy to visit with you. You can reach me and I can direct you to him or myself if you have prayer. And my email is nancya@ymcasatx.org. So we're so happy to be with you today, and y'all have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye.